Hello Global Gardeners, my name is Miss Kalie and welcome back to Global Gardens. Last week you talked about landforms and the environment with Miss Jenny. I hope you had a lot of fun. This week we are going to talk about the impact both you and I have on the world. Now, you might be like, hey Miss Kalie, the world is huge, and you're not wrong, the world is pretty big. Nonetheless, even though we're small and the world is huge, everything that we do, our actions, impact the whole world. Whoa. Okay, so think about this with me. Whatever I do impacts you. For example, I'm making this video and now you're watching it. Woohoo! But whatever you do impacts the people around you. For example, maybe your family, or maybe the people sitting near you right now. Look around. Who's sitting near you? So your actions impact other people around you, either your family or those people sitting near you, and those other people impact the other people that's near them. For example, maybe your mom interacts with some of her mom friends, or maybe your sibling hangs out with her friends or his friends and is going to impact and affect them, which means when those siblings or those mom friends or those other people get together with their other friends, they're impacting more people. So the people you impacted impact people who 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 impact people until you've impacted your city and then your country and then the world. Pretty simple. So whatever you do causes an effect in the whole wide world, which is crazy. So, before we dive any deeper into the whirlwind of things that you and I do that impact the world, let's talk about resources. Now, maybe you know what that word means, maybe you don't, it's kind of funky, but the word resource means a supply of something that you use. For example, water is a resource. This is a cup of water. It is a supply of water that I use. A resource. This plastic is a resource. It is a supply of plastic that I use as a cup to hold my water. Crazy. Electricity is a resource. It comes from natural gas and oil in the ground. So electricity is a supply that, guess what, we use. So there's a lot of resources out there. Can you think of any others? Maybe cotton is a resource that I use to make clothes. Paper is a resource that comes from trees that we use to write on. Food is a resource that comes from the ground from different plants that, guess what, we eat. So there's a lot of resources we use in our daily life. Now, there's all those resources, but all of those resources can get categorized or put into two categories. The first category is renewable resources. The second category is non-renewable resources. So first of all, renewable resource. Now, the word renewable means to renew, to make new, or again and again and again. So renewable resource is a resource that never runs out. For example, the sunlight, it's always there. Maybe not at night, but it's going to be there in the morning. Or the wind, it is always going to keep blowing. Nothing we do is going to stop the wind. So that is a renewable resource. Another example of renewable resource might be our food. Even though we keep eating food, there's going to be more. We are able to grow more food. The earth can produce more food for us to eat. Same goes with the fish that we eat, or the cows that we eat, or the milk that we drink. Those come from a renewable resource that the earth is able to continuously renew so that we can enjoy them. So, renewable resource. A resource or a supply of something that we can keep using without limit. Pretty cool. So if we move on to non-renewable resource, it sounds like the last kind of resource, but it has that non in front of it. That means it is not renewable. That means no. When it's gone, it's gone. Dun dun dun. So, an example of a non-renewable resource would be like the oil or the natural gas that comes from the ground, from the rocks that we use to drive our cars, or to power our electricity. Electricity and the fuel for our cars come from a non-renewable resource that's found in the ground. That means once this resource is gone, it is gone for good. AKA, the earth is not able to make more of it. So even though the earth could make more food, the earth cannot make more gas or oil for us in time for us to use it. So, two types of resources. One, renewable. You can use it, no worries. Two, you can use it, and then it's all gone. Sad. Okay, now we know what resources are, and we know that each person, me, you, your buddy, your mom, your sister, your brother, your great uncle, your aunt, your dog, you and me, humans in general, cause a huge impact on the earth depending on how we use or don't use our renewable and non-renewable resources. And a lot of these things can be bad. For example, if a farmer cuts and farms too much, or if he's doing things the wrong way, he could cause a lot of erosion, which means that the soil would get washed away. If a fisherman overfishes or fishes way more fish than he needs, then we actually could run out of fish. Even though it technically is a renewable resource, if we fish too much, there's not going to be fishes. Or we could think about issues where people go and they cut down way too many trees. Deforestation. Even though trees are technically a renewable resource that we use to make our paper, if we're cutting down all the trees everywhere just because we can, then we're not going to have enough trees. That's not good. Same kind of goes with our natural gas. That is a non-renewable resource, meaning there's not enough natural gas to last forever. It's eventually going to run out. So when we use natural gas, or when we just run our electricity all day, or we drive our cars everywhere, we're using up one of those non-renewable resources that isn't going to last for forever. So that can cause a lot of damage to our earth because we're sucking all of that resource out from the rocks in the earth. And also because when we drive our cars or we use electricity, sometimes we let off emissions, which causes the atmosphere to get kind of gross, and then it gets harder to breathe. But, there are some good things that humans do impact the earth with. For example, in some areas where there's deforestation, different groups and people go and they plant new trees. And that's really awesome. They're helping the earth build up its stock of trees. There's some people who, when there's a really ugly neighborhood, they'll sprinkle flower seeds and plant flowers all along it to make it look beautiful. That helps our pollinators as they're growing, and it keeps it looking nice. That's a really positive human impact. Or sometimes you've used up your piece of paper, it's ugly, so you crumple it up and you throw it in the trash can. The trash can goes straight to the landfill. Don't do that. Instead of crumpling it up, you have to put it in your green recycle bin. This green recycle bin sends our recyclable materials to a plant where they're able to get transformed into something new. So instead of throwing it away where it's going to go rot at a dump, we can actually use our materials and use them again. So like that piece of paper I just threw away might end up becoming toilet paper, or might become paper for someone else for a new book, or it might become a box. So there's lots of ways that we can reuse materials. That way we're helping renewable resources. So I want to challenge you guys to think about the impacts that you have on our resources, whether renewable or non-renewable, and the impacts that you have on our earth. We want to keep our earth happy and healthy, and so let's think of a few ways that we can do that. One way we talked about is we can recycle. So things that are recyclable, they'll often have this little triangle on it. Stick those in your recycle bin and it's going to be turned into something that will be used again. Or if you see trash along the side of the road, let's pick it up. Even if you find trash, instead of just throwing away, you could recycle it yourself. You could make some art out of it. You could make a cool wall hanging or a cool art project. So today we talked a lot about taking care of the earth physically. I thinking about how our physical actions and the way we use our resources, whether non-renewable or renewable, impact the people and the world around us. For example, if I drop some trash, it could negatively impact a person or an animal. It could end up impacting our air quality. But also, we should consider the way that our emotions and our words and our thoughts impact those around us. For example, if I'm having a bad day and I'm grumpy, then I'm going to cause someone else to have a bad day. I might be mean to them, or just me being all like grumpy might make them feel bad. They might be like, oh, what did I do wrong that Miss Kalie is so frustrated? If I have a good day, however, and I'm like super happy and I'm like, hey man, good to see you. You are awesome. Don't you think they're going to have a better day? Now, sometimes we are having really bad moods, or sometimes really frustrating and hard things happen in our lives, and it's not easy to be nice and kind to others. But it is really important to try or to let other people know. So for example, if I'm having a bad day, it was a really hard weekend, and I just had some negative things happen to me, instead of being mean to others, or instead of just being like all grumpy, I could tell them, hey, I'm sorry if I seem mean to you today. I had a hard weekend, and I'm really sad, and I'm having a hard time being kind. And you know what? That is going to help other people to be able to process and realize that, hey, Miss Kalie's not doing okay, so I will give her space, I'll treat her nicely, and I'll know that she's not mad at me, she's just having stuff going on. So our thoughts, our emotions, our words, they impact the people around us. So even if you're having a hard day, see if you can try to be kind to others and tell people that you are having a bad day so that they know maybe they can help you out. But when you're in a good mood, you should really act that out and help others have a good mood too. Maybe you could smile at people. Maybe you could say, hey, say you're awesome. You could write them a note. You could give them a hug. Maybe not with COVID. You give them an elbow bump. Our moods and our thoughts and our words affect those around us, and we want the world to be a happy place. So let's do our best to spread happiness and to spread joy, to be kind, to spread peace, so that we can impact the world to become happier. Today, I want us to think super carefully and closely, how can we take better care of our world? Whether that's through recycling, through picking up trash, or through being kind to each other today. I challenge you guys to go out and take care of your world. The world and Miss Kalie will thank you. Okay, have a great day, guys. I will see y'all later.